in the last 3 years, only one driver has won the Supercars title. He's now gone to the US to compete in the Indycar series. Now the question is, for 2021 in the Supercars Championship, who's next? Hey guys, welcome back to yet another YouTube video. This is part 1. This is the first episode of about, I think, 8 episodes for a season preview of the 2021 Repco Supercars Championship. So I've learned a lot from, of course, from doing my season previews for, of course, the Big Bash and Australia Supercross, Australia AMO Supercross Championship that I did, and I'm going to spread across several parts. Several things I'm going to talk about before I start off here. Number one, number one, the big elephant in the room. Why are you sitting that far back? Well, obviously because I wanted to change up something here, and 2 is because now you can actually see this. You can actually see what I am, because every time I look down like that, I'm looking down on my laptop. Now you can actually see now. You see here down the bottom of the screen here, what I'm actually looking at, instead of just looking at nothing for you guys that are watching. So yeah, so that's basically the main reason also, but the other reason, of course, to have a new angle here, a bit of a wider angle here of my room. You can see here at the top here, as you can see here. I don't think you can actually see it, but I don't think you can barely actually see it. But I think I've got 1/43 scale Supercars up on my shelf, and both shelves actually, the other one which you can't see at the moment. So yeah, so then the second one is basically, some of this season preview is basically going to be, if you guys don't know, in this current global pandemic that we're currently on, it's stopped us from having a test session at one circuit, have all teams there. So I'll be doing a sort of review slash preview of the separate tests, one at Queensland Raceway with the Queensland teams. I think Team Sydney, I believe, are going to be there as well, and also the Melbourne teams. Also, and then the Winton test with all the Melbourne teams. So I might do that. So yeah, so this is the first episode. The first episode, I'm going to be let's get into it straight away. So I'll be talking about, in my opinion, the 4 favourites, in my opinion, that I think are contenders for this Supercars title, and that is Jamie Whincup, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cameron Waters, and Anton Pasquale. I would love to agree with Whincup and say 15 different drivers can win the title, but I don't. That's highly unrealistic. So yeah, those are the 4 that I'm going to be talking about during this episode. Before you ask, oh, what about David Reynolds? What about that? Just chill, just calm down, just chill. There will be in other episodes. If you think in this episode I missed out on your favourite driver, just calm down. There will be 8 other parts coming up before the first race this season at the Repco Mount Panorama 500. So it's running through the calendar first before I actually talk about the drivers. And by the way, this is the only time I will be mentioning the 2021 calendar. I'm not going to be mentioning it in all the other episodes of this. So yeah, so you need to listen out to this carefully, very carefully. So the first race, obviously, that is it later this month. That's in about 3 weeks' time. I think at Mount Panorama for the Repco Mount Panorama 500, which I think is the first time since 1995, I believe, that a sprint round is going to be held at at Bathurst, which has been that long. It's been that long since. It's been that long since the sprint round has been held at Bathurst. The second race will be so the first race, I should say, is February 26th to 28th. The second race of the season is going to be held at Sandown Raceway for the Sandown Super Sprint on March 20th to 21st. Now, that one was supposed to be the round at the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix, but that got postponed to November and possibly maybe moved forward to October, I've heard. The Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix and the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix for MotoGP might get switched around. So yeah, we've heard nothing really since then about that. But all we've heard is that Sandown will be the second race, with the second round of the season. Then after that they go to Symmons Plains in Tasmania for the Tasmania Super Sprint on April 10th and 11th, 10th to 11th. So by the way, I should ask this. I should tell you this. Obviously, the Bend Super Sprint, the Winton Super Sprint, and the Darwin Triple Crown, they're all going to be 2-day weekends. So there'll be Saturday practice, qualifying in the race, and then Sunday qualifying and Sunday race day. So yeah, so that's going to be. So those are going to be two-day weekends, which were successful in 2020, and they're going to be going again in 2021. By the way, so as I said, the fourth round of the season will be at the Bend Motorsport Park at Tailem Bend in South Australia for the OTR the Bend Super Sprint on May 8 and 9. Then after that, and then later in April, they'll at the end of April, I should say, they go to Winton for the Winton Super Sprint on May 29 to 30. Then after that, in a few weeks after that, they go all the way up to the top end in Darwin at Hidden Valley Raceway for the annual Darwin Triple Crown, which will be held on June 19th and 20th. And then after that, they have I should say, I would guess a 3 to 4, maybe 5 week break. 4 week break, something like that. For the 7th round of the season, now we're entering the second half of the season, at Townsville on July. This is a 3-day. This is actually a 3-day event. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, while the other ones before that are just Saturday and Sunday. This is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from July 9th to 11th. So that's a good date for me, because that will, my 21st I can actually watch Supercars on my 21st birthday. Then of course the next 2 rounds, I believe, are the next 3 rounds, I should say, are for me the most I'm looking forward to out of this calendar. And the first one, and rounds 8 and 9 are going to be the Super Night rounds. First one at Sydney Motorsport Park, from August 20th to 22nd, and then they head over to Perth for at Barbagallo Raceway on September 11th to September 11 and 12 for the first Super Night. And hopefully the current situation, as we know now over in Perth, hopefully that's going to be contained by, they'll probably 100% be contained by then, so the Supercars can have that race going on. And after that, obviously, it is the second appearance, second time going to the mountain, but this time it's the big one. It is the big one. It is the Repco Bathurst 1000. Well, I can't believe I said I got that out first time. Yeah, it's had many names. It's had it was the Armstrong 500, the Gallagher 500, the Hardy Frodo 500, and it turned the Hardy Frodo 1000, the James Hardy 1000, the Tui's 1000, the AMP Bathurst 1000, the Primus 1000 Classic, the FAI 1000, the V8 Supercar 1000, the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, and now Repco Bathurst 1000 now. It's going to be called, and that's going to be held at its traditional slot from October 7th to October 10th. So that one is going to be very interesting. Of course, it's our one and only March. Well, this year is not our one and only March, because we go there in a few weeks' time for the start of the season. But it's the second March to the mountain, obviously, to see who will the 1000 choose, the Bathurst 1000 choose as their winners this year, in 2021. Then they go to the one and only I can't remember what the word is. New Zealand trip. We go to Auckland for the ITM Auckland Super Sprint from November 6 to 7. We still don't know where the venue is going to be at. We don't know if it's going to be Hampton Downs, whether it's going to be at Pukekohe. We still don't know about that. Or even if there's possibly maybe going to be a New Zealand round at all again this year, we don't know. But yeah, and I won't be surprised. And I won't be surprised if the Australian Grand Prix does decide to be in October instead of November. Then I won't be surprised if they'll be around at the Australian Formula One Grand Prix, as they often done in 2018 and 2019, then I would suggest they would slot that in between the Bathurst 1000 and the Auckland Super Sprint. I would suggest they will do that. And then the final round of the season, round 12, from December 3 to 5, is the Gold Coast 500 instead of the Gold Coast 600. That replaces Newcastle as because the Newcastle round's been axed, but it's already been announced that they will be opening that Newcastle will open the 2022 season over there. That is if the opposition state government over South Australia wins the election and reinstates the Adelaide 500. We still don't know about that, but yeah, hopefully they do reinstate that. Now let's go to let's focus now on the drivers, shall we? So of course we might as well start off with the both Red Bull Ampol racing team guys. I said Ampol because now, as we all know, Holden's no longer a brand in Australia, and a car brand in Australia anymore, which is unfortunate for me as a Holden fan. But yeah, obviously, of course, if you guys have not lived under a rock these last 3-4 days, it was announced, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, that there was the morning, Friday morning, was the shock announcement that well, it's sort of a shock, but for me, it was probably expected, really, that Jamie Whincup will, and Jamie Whincup's 2021 season for Jamie Whincup will be his last before he moves to, I think it's a directing role at Triple Eight Race Engineering. So Roland Dane is pulling back on his commitments with the team and handing it all over to Whincup, which is very interesting. And see how J-Dub will go in that role, in that leadership role for the team. Of course he owns a bit, and of course, speaking of owns, and there was another announcement that was made during last week, and that was that the team, I think it was I can't remember how much of the team was bought out. It was bought out by Tony Quinn, as we all know. As we all know, the Quinns have a big history in Australian motorsport. Of course, they own, VIP Pet Foods, obviously. I don't know if they still do, actually, but yeah. But they've owned, they're now share a thing with the team. So it's going to be interesting, as I said earlier, to see how J-Dub will go in a leading role in the team in 2022 and beyond in future years. Because he's definitely, I think definitely he's a modern day legend of supercars. I mean, you can't, if you love him or you hate him, you can't deny his stats. Obviously, of course, 7 championships, over 120 race wins, almost 100 pole positions, many fastest laps as well. I mean, it's just unbelievable. His record, his consistency has been unbelievable. And even when in his early years of his career, he was basically tackling adversity, and then he got axed by GRM after the 2003 season. Then 2005, he got an opportunity to drive for Tasman Motorsport, which he did very well, and that led, and of course, the 2 races which I think, in my opinion, led him to get the drive for Triple Eight for 2006, Sandown and Bathurst, with the late great Jason Richards, where I think he finished 3rd at the Sandown 500 that year, and 3rd and 2nd at Bathurst. I know he finished 2nd at Bathurst in 2005 with Jason Richards, with JR, and then I think he finished 3rd at Sandown that year. So yeah, and then of course he went to Triple Eight, and of course it was a slow start, obviously. Not a slow start. Of course he won. Won in his first round with the team at Adelaide in 2006, but of course it went downhill from there. Of course, Bathurst. Also I forgot to mention that in his CV. Also, he's a 4-time Bathurst winner. He could have been maybe a 6 or 7-time Bathurst champion if luck had been on his side. If luck had been on his side, he probably could have won after 2012. He probably could have won. He probably could have won another four Bathursts in a row if, of course, he was denied by Mark Winterbottom in 2013. Of course, he ran out of fuel in 2014, which is I regard as the best Supercars race I've ever seen. Unbelievable, the best Supercars race ever. I mean, a race that involves a red flag halfway through the race has to be contender for that. 2015, you can say he was slightly in contention for that, but of course he overtook under the safety car when he shouldn't have, and that meant he was penalised. And then probably the most harshest one in my opinion, which is 2016, where he caused the incident with Tander and Scott McLaughlin with I think it was 11 laps to go in the race, which was controversial, and he opened and he had a 15-second penalty, which I still think that I think if that penalty never happened, I think we would be saying that he is now an 8-time champion. I think he could have taken it to his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen for the title in 2016 if he had won that Bathurst 1000, if he hadn't had that 15-second penalty hanging on his head. But since he had that 15-second penalty, which meant he dropped back to, I think it was about outside the top 10, that meant that, of course, yeah, that meant, of course, unfortunately, his title chances were over. And 2017, obviously, that just proved that he didn't need to win many races to win the title. I mean, I think in 2008, I think he won about 14 races that year. I think 11 in 2009. 2011, I think he won like 9 or 10 races that year. 2012, he won 12. 2013, I think he won 11 races. And to make it, I think that's probably his best title, considering that he won 11 races and there was a total of 12 different winners in that year in 2013, which was the year, obviously, that the Car of the Future rules came in 2013. 2014, he won, I'm trying to remember how many races he won. If it was 14 or 15 races in 2014. And then in 2017, when he won his 7th title, he only won 4. He only won 4 races, obviously, with Scott McLaughlin claiming all the pole positions, all the wins. Oh, well, 8 of them, basically, but all the pole positions. And he proved to his critics that he didn't need to win all the races to win the title, or win double-figure races to win the title. He only won 4 races. And, of course, thanks to his consistency, he won the title in the end. So, yeah. But unfortunately, of course, 2018, 2019, 2020... 2020, so this basically relates to the next thing I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about 2020 here. And that was basically Whincup and Van Gisbergen's differing late season form. Now you can see here Whincup. I'm going to read down some stats real quick. Read some stats real quick about Whincup. In the first 13 races, he had. Let's read some stats real quick here. He had 4 pole positions. One of them that included the cancelled round at Albert Park, which of course I should have said went on to be cancelled in the end. 2 wins, 7 podiums, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and no DNFs. And he was 141 points behind Scott McLaughlin in the championship at that stage entry. Well, you should say the halfway mark of the championship then in the last 4 races, from race 18 to 31, he claimed 2 pole positions, 2 wins, 7 podiums, which is the same as the first 13 races, 8 top 5s, 11 top 10s, the same, 1 DNF, which was, of course, at Bathurst, obviously, and the shock, he only scored 966 points, and that minimal points tally in the second half of the season cost him 2nd place in the championship, and obviously the DNF also cost him the 2nd place in the championship, and also thanks to Shane Van Gisbergen's win, he was dropped back down to 4th in the championship, and immediately 527 points behind Scott McLaughlin. So it was a pretty poor. If you think about it now, it's a pretty poor last half of the season for Jamie Whincup. But I hope he atones for that. Hopefully, when the season starts at Bathurst in a few weeks' time. But in contrast, Shane Van Gisbergen, his was different to J-Dub. Gizzy's start was way worse. It's probably opposite than J-Dub's. J-Dub's season started well and was the only man to contend with Scott McLaughlin. Then he fell away in the second half of the season. The stats here for Shane Van Gisbergen here. In the first 13 races are as follows: 2 pole positions, including one at the Albert Park round, which got cancelled. No wins, 4 podiums, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s, 2 DNFs, which included one in the second race at Adelaide when his rear suspension failed. In almost the same way as his rear suspension failed at Sandown in 2019, almost the same way. And at the end of this first 13 races, he was 319 points behind Scott McLaughlin in the championship race, which was unfortunate, really. But then of course he entered the last half of the season. He was dynamite during that one. During the second half of the season, let me run you through these real quick. 1 pole position, of course, which is 1 less than, of course, in the first half of the season. 4 wins, 6 podiums, 9 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and only 1 DNF in that time. And of course, one of those 4 wins was, of course, Bathurst, obviously holding off Cam Waters, which eventually I will be talking. I'll talk about later. So you can see basically, you can see what I mean by differing late season form between Gizzy and J-Dub. Because I think for me, Jamie was basically he was good in the first half. The only one to contend with Scott to take up to Scott McLaughlin, and then in the second half of the season he fell away. And of course his points tally obviously was proved of that, going down to 4th in the championship after, of course, his DNF at Bathurst. On the other side of things, Shane, he had one word to describe his first half of the season was unlucky. He was unlucky, to be honest. He should have won in the second race at Adelaide, when of course the crew buggered up the strategy of it. Well, not buggered up, but of course they didn't put enough fuel in his car, and of course they had had to drive the wheels off the thing to basically get a big enough gap so when he goes into pits, he basically drives out again, and of course that led to, of course, his rear suspension failing. And then the last half of the season, he only had, as I said, he had 1 less pole in the second half of the season. He only had 1 pole position, but he won 4 races in that time, which was unbelievable. And hopefully that form in the second half of the season in 2020 leads Giz to hopefully contend for the 2021 title. I think maybe I can't say at the moment who do I think will be better out of these two. out of I can't. It's probably going to be a throw at a dartboard to say who's going to be better, Gizzy or J-Dub. I would suggest probably Gizzy because basically because of his second half of the year, he was unbelievable. I think he scored like I think he scored like almost 2,000 points in the whole second half of the season, and he barely scored 1,000 points in the first half of the season, and he almost doubled his tally, or triple or quadrupled his tally from the first half of the season in the second half of 2020 in the end. So yeah, that is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how Gizzy will go, and of course how will J-Dub go in his final season as a full-time Supercars driver. Yeah, so for me, in my opinion, I tip Giz to be the best out of the two, unfortunately. Sorry to Jamie Whincup fans, but I believe Gizzy, I think, will be on. I'm picking squarely because of his second half of the season. He was just stellar in the second half of 2020, was Gizzy. Now let's move on to Cam Waters. Let's move on to Cam Waters, because he had a breakout season with a capital B in 2020. Of course, he finished. Of course, look at these stats here. He finished. See these stats here. Listen to these stats here. Second in the championship. 451 points behind Scott McLaughlin. Of course, he was runaway champion again. Scored 1 pole position, 1 win, had 9 podiums, 13 top 5s, 22 top 10s, and only 1 DNF. So, judging by his stats for top 5s and top 10s, he was rather consistent throughout the 2020 season. And do I think he'll contend for the 2021 title? Definitely yes. Definitely. He'll contend for this title. I think he'll most likely be the one who might pick up the pieces from Van Gisbergen and Whincup. If things go astray or something goes astray with one of those two, or with both of those, he'll be there to pick up the pieces, obviously. Yeah, I think for me, this is the year for Waters that he certifies himself as a genuine title contender, as a real favourite to take out this Supercars title, in my opinion, obviously. But yeah, that's just my opinion, obviously, on that one. I believe that I think he's definitely one of the drivers to beat, for sure. I think he's definitely is one of the drivers to beat in this championship, in my opinion. Yeah, he's shown pretty much since the Mustang came in 2019 that he can produce some pace, some great pace in the Mustang, and now hopefully that will come to fruition for Cam, and hopefully of course he stepped up a level in 2020, and hopefully he'll step up another level to that championship winning level in 2021, and show the whole Supercars fraternity that, wow, he is a guy that yeah. And also, and speaking of Cam Waters, I'm going to mention a show here that barely anybody knows about. It went from 2011 to 2013. Obviously, of course, Kelly Racing, or now Kelly Grove Racing, were in charge of this for 2011 and 2012, and then FPR, Ford Performance Racing, or now they're called Tickford Racing, were in charge of this. It's called Shannon's Supercar Showdown. I'll give you a trivia question. I'll give you a trivial question. Who won the first season of Shannon's Supercar Showdown? I'll give you a big giveaway clue. It's the guy that I just talked about. So, and in the next episode, I'll give you the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer in this video. In the next episode, next Supercars season preview episode, I will be revealing the answer for that. Yeah, if I do forget to in the video, I might put in the comment section in the next video, maybe, I don't know, for that. Yeah, so that was Cam Waters. Now finally, we move on to a guy who's in his fourth season. He's now moved up to the big teams. Obviously, he was with Erebus last season for 2018 and 2019, of course, last season. Had probably his best season in Supercars last season, and now he's now moved to DJR, which is solely now going to be Dick Johnson Racing, because now Team Penske has pulled out of the partnership there. So yeah, and that is Anton De Pasquale. That might be some people might say, oh, that's a bit left field. Even though it's DJR not the same team. Anton's probably not going to be on the pace. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. Well, I've got some stats here to show you this here. And this is basically Scott McLaughlin's start. This is why I believe that I think for me, Anton De Pasquale and Scott McLaughlin are a lot similar to me. For me. So now I'm going to read the stats here from McLaughlin's first 4 years, of course, at Gary Rogers Motorsport. Now it's not now, of course, GRM is not in Supercars anymore. In his first 4 years, he had a best championship position of third, which was in 2016. He ran 100 out of those 4 years. He had 139 races, 17 poles, 8 wins, 26 podiums, 45 top fives, 85 top tens, 8 DNFs, and 1 did not start, which was in the opening race of the 2015 season. Now that you compare to De Pasquale in his first 3 years at Erebus, of course, he had his best championship finish, of course, last season in 8th. He's had 88 races. Can you believe it? 88 races. It's almost like yesterday that Anton made his Supercars debut. Actually, no, it feels like it's yesterday that he made his complete debut in a Supercar in the Dunlop Super 2 series. It almost feels like yesterday that he had his first drive in a Supercar, and now he's basically almost now season. I'm not going to say veteran, but a young seasonal star for Supercars. Of course, no poles. Of course, continuing on here, no poles, 1 win, 5 podiums, 10 top fives, 27 top tens, and this is a shock. This is a shock. Only 5 DNFs in his whole career. In his whole career, 5 DNFs. He barely. I think out of those 88 races, I believe that would be pretty much. If I were to estimate, that would be something in the middle of 90 to 92% finishing rate, or 80, or somewhere in the late 80s. I would suggest. That's only for me. It's only an estimate. But wow, that is if you consider Scott McLaughlin, he had 8 DNFs in his first 4 years in Supercars. That is a phenomenal record, and that will most likely get better as he's now going on at DJR. Yeah. So for those stats there compared to Scott McLaughlin is not that good. But of course, of course, you know what happened with Scott McLaughlin when he went to DJR Team Penske in 2017. He went from being a race-winning contender to a title contender to a title winner very, very quickly in those 2 years, in 2017 and 2018. So yeah, so quickly. So yeah, will it happen the same with Anton Di Pasquale? We'll just wait and find out. When this 2021 season gets started and gets down to the gritty end. So yeah, so that's basically it for this first episode. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. I don't know when this will be out. I don't know if it's going to come out. I would definitely think it will come out maybe maybe late tomorrow morning, because I'm filming this on a Sunday night. Maybe on a Monday morning it might come out. Also, if you guys are fans of the AFL Evolution 2 Summer Series, the finals, the first final will be out tomorrow. I'll be filming and uploading that video tomorrow. And of course, the second episode of the season preview will be out tomorrow. Will be filmed and out tomorrow. So at the moment, I'm going to be doing 2 episodes a week. For the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be filming 2 episodes a week. So of course, the usual, like this video, share this to all your friends who are massive Supercars fans, or massive Holden fans, Ford fans. I don't know, you never know, maybe Jamie Whincup fans. Share this to them. Comment down below. Who do you think out of these four drivers will finish higher in the championship? And of course, somewhere down there is a big red button, which is labeled subscribe, and of course, click on the notification bell to get notified when I next upload. And one last thing, obviously, go follow me on Instagram at Braden_Davis_2000. I don't do regular posts there, but because if you guys don't know, obviously this house I'm currently in right now is gonna get extended. I'll post updates when that eventually does eventually happen. Yeah, so go follow me on my Instagram as well. So yeah, so that's the end of the first episode, guys. A very good episode. And there's going to be a load more of these to come before the first round of the 2021 Repco Supercars Championship season. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later.